All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we are going through Proverbs 10, verse 12. Let's get it. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. So, baseline interpretation of this: love covers all. It says it point blank. But I also wanted to point out the fact that if there's strife, if there's conflict, it's rooted in hatred. If we all loved each other to the extent that God loves us at all times, there would be no conflict. Isn't that an interesting thought? All conflict rooted in hatred, coming straight from the word itself. So, what's the entrepreneurial application of this? Phase one, I would say, is identifying limiting beliefs in faith, family, friends, fitness, and finance. And I'm saying that this is the entrepreneurial application of this verse because business problems are human problems. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking you're having a problem with your business, whether it's sales, marketing, HR, finance, whether it's the interpersonal relations between colleagues, the culture of the company, all of that, it's a human issue. And I say that because none of this happens without humans. Like you can't have a business without serving a client, and you can't serve clients without your colleagues, employees, fellow team members to serve those clients. And then you can't even get the money to get the loan to buy the business without the bank, which is built on people's capital, which is built on people's labor, which all of that's built on people. So you guys get my point. All business problems are human problems. And the reason identifying limiting beliefs is the application here is because I feel like love covering all really cuts to the core of humanity. And I feel like at the core of all of our actions, our thoughts, our feelings, our results are some beliefs that we have. What do we believe about the world? And so when you apply the love covers all, I think getting to the crux of it, you got to talk to people, question people, and seek to understand people's beliefs about themselves, about God, and about the world, and then how that turns up in their everyday life. So, where's this shown up in my life? I would say in my own personal walk with God. I used to think that His grace wasn't for me when I was in high school, and that led to me living life a certain way. Because I didn't know how much God loved me, unable, I was unable to love the people around me. And when I started to realize that His grace was for me too, that He would go to the cross just for me, I was able to take that love and start to extend it to others. And that's a real clear example of how my beliefs shape the way that I interact with others, interact with myself, and interact with God. Another way is thinking that hard work will produce wealth instead of leverage in relationships. And this is one I still struggle with. I like to work myself real hard. And it's this belief that if I just work hard enough, I'll make it. But honestly, you could work extremely hard and be in a vacuum and produce no results because, again, all problems are human problems. Business problems are human problems. So if I'm having an issue with my cash flow and money only ever comes from other people's pockets, is my issue a work ethic issue? Maybe, but it's an applied work ethic in what sphere? One in which you are interacting with people, doing business with people, building trust, and employing leverage to produce and provide value such that somebody would be willing to pay for it, right? And so I keep thinking that hard work in a vacuum is going to get me there. But no, that's not the case. I was reading Andrew Carnegie's biography earlier today. I was listening to it be read to me, and he said that like the first half of the battle of life is won for a young man when they find themselves around notable characters in society. And it just speaks to the power of your network. Now, I paraphrase that quote, butchered it a little bit, but the point still stands. When you're around powerful people, you start to think like them, you start to feel like them, you start to act like them, and then it eventually produces the results that they have. You can also tap into their resources, which is very important to produce similar results. And so, me thinking that hard work will produce wealth instead of leveraging relationships, I have to understand, I have to remind myself that's really the relationships. It's really the leverage on the activity that you're doing that will produce wealth, not necessarily how hard you're working in any given day. So, where do I want this to show up in my life? I want to see clearly. I want to see how God sees. When I look at a person, I want to see them how God sees them. That's it. That's how I want this to show up in my life because love covers all. And if I can see like God, hopefully I can love a bit more like God. And if I can love more like God, I'll be able to have that covering all offenses. So when I'm sucking, if I love as well, we're all good, right? How can you guys apply this to your life? I would say ask yourself what you have to believe about yourself, the world, or God to keep your vices in your life alive. And that's a strange question. So let me break it down a little bit. In order to continue to smoke, drink, skip your workouts, be undisciplined, uh, go down the negative self-talk rabbit hole. In order to do all these things, you have to believe a certain thing about yourself, the world, or God. And because you have that belief, it enables you to do these things. I think when you start to question those beliefs, you get that awareness and then you get that understanding without judgment. And then you can start to redirect that energy intentionally towards a more abundant belief, which will produce more abundant thoughts, abundant feelings, abundant actions, and abundant results. So that's what we got for you guys today on the show. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And on that note, we're out.